Hello everybody, welcome back to Podcast J. Welcome back to my unfiltered diary. Thank you for tuning in. I'm an independent girl, early in my 20s. Wait, I said it wrong. Shit. Anyway, as you all know, I'm an independent girl in my early 20s. On this podcast, I like to share my best advice. I share a lot of my personal journey and life experiences, and sometimes I dip in with a bit of juicy stories. How are you all doing today? Today, I'm feeling a little tired, to be honest. So today I've done a lot of self-reflection. I think it's really good to do this. Something I really recommend, especially if you're feeling a bit down and feeling like you're a bit stumped with life. Because it's good to remind yourself of all the achievements you have already done. So I find that when I think, oh my god, why haven't I got a mortgage yet? Why am I not in my dream job? Why am I not earning what I want to be earning? Sometimes I sit there and question, like, why am I not in the place I want to be in life? Why do I not have the things I want? Like, I do get in a rut where I start, like, really putting myself down, doubting myself, beating myself up. It's almost bullying yourself. Instead of recalibrating your mind to focus on the positives. And people say it all the time, and I'm like, yeah, alright, whatever. Focus on the positives. Sure thing. It's nice if you have the things that you want, but truthfully, if you do start looking at things from a different perspective, you will feel a lot better about life. So today, when I was thinking, why do I not have all these things that I want? Where am I not where I want to be? I actually thought, like, well, 5 years ago, what did I want? So 5 years ago, I was 18, right? When I was 18, my dream was to move out within 2 years. I wanted to move out by 20, like, properly, not struggling. I want to be driving. So when I was 18, I was saving for a car. I was not in a position where I felt I didn't really feel a lot of freedom in my life. Even though I was independent, I was working multiple jobs. I had like 3 jobs at the time. And I was barely scraping the barrel to make $1,000 a month, and I worked 3 jobs. And yet today I thought, well, in 5 years, I have managed to earn nearly 3 times that in a month before. And, you know, I might not be doing that right now, but I have achieved that within these 5 years. And I was in a position where I never felt like I was at home. I never used to sleep well. I used to smoke a shit ton of weed. And yet I'm not smoking weed anymore. I cope with things and deal with things that go on my mind in a much healthier way. Other people might not think it's healthy, but the way I do it is healthier than what I was doing. I used to just smoke all my problems away. Or just suppress them and forget about them and move on. And yeah, I used to deal with things a lot of the wrong ways. Something I also realised is that even though I never felt at home, I never felt like I had a place of belonging, in 5 years, not only do I live in my own place, I'm on my 3rd place. Like, I've moved out, I've cut out all the negative people in my life. I have much better friends around me. I'm in a very healthy relationship. Yes, we sometimes, argue like normal relationships do, but it's not, severely toxic, and I'm not worried that my partner's cheating on me, and I'm not experiencing the experiences I used to just put up with because I thought they were normal when they're not. Obviously in life you've got positives, negatives, pros, cons, etc. But you have to go head on with these things, and you can't beat yourself up every single time something bad happens. So, yeah, summary of how I'm feeling today. Reflective. is probably the word. Sometimes, if you're not sure how to do reflection, you should write a list of goals you have for this year. Then you should have a list of goals you have for the next 5 years. And then you should have a list of goals that you want to achieve throughout your whole life. Because I'm a massive hoarder, I actually have tons and tons of paperwork of where I've done this when I was a kid. And over the last few years, when I've just doodled or I've just wrote, like, this is what I want to do, and I get that burst of motivation every couple of months or couple of years, it varies, and I wrote it down so many times, and I actually found one when I was going through my paperwork in lockdown, like just throwing loads of stuff out. And I remember there was one that said, I want to have a good job, I want to have my own place, I want to have my own car, I want to have my own puppy, I want to go on holiday a year. What else was it said? I can't remember, but the only things I didn't tick off was owning my own puppy. It said, like, go to the gym, be healthy, eat good, drink more water, like just basic things. And I had achieved all of those things, and I just never knew, like, all these things I set myself out to do were achievable things. And yet, when I was, like, God knows how old when I wrote it, maybe like 16, I, thought they were just dreams. I thought they were unrealistic expectations I could set myself. But I have done all of those things, except from own my own puppy. So, yeah, I really want to own a puppy. But anyway, it's definitely good to have something like that to remind yourself of what you want, because sometimes we just, like, have you ever been in that situation where someone's gone, like, what do you actually want from life? And sometimes I just get this, like, I can't really explain it, but sometimes I just sort of forget that I am a person and I have a personality, and I feel like I have no personality. And I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but, like, I sometimes just feel like I'm not, like, I don't have an identity as such. So I'm like, when people are like, tell me something about yourself, I just tell them really depressing things, to be honest, because I don't really know who I am sometimes. And when I set these goals for myself, it sort of is like a different perspective on what I want from life and what I achieve in life. And it's like, actually, I just want to be happy. I'm just becoming a happy person, a positive person, and this is what I want, because I don't think many people know their true identity or their purpose in life in their 20s, because how are you supposed to? We go through school and we go through all this system growing up where they're like, you have to be this way, you have to work for someone, you have to, hit these milestones, you have to get married and have kids, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, why? Who said that? Not anyone in my family said that, so I don't know why we're trying to follow something that is unrealistic and a very high expectation for a very old-fashioned world. So don't put that pressure on yourself. Not quite sure what I was aiming for with that, but I know if I actually wrote down what I say, I could go back to what I said instead of just looking at these squiggly lines as I record. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so I hope you're having a good week so far. What on earth was that lush weather last week? Oh my god, Mother Nature, you fucking spoiler. That was delicious. I wore a dress for 2 weekends in a row. Can you believe that? A dress. Me. Feminine. I've never been very feminine, to be honest. It's only the last couple of years that I've actually really tried to be. Almost back to, like, what I was saying about identity. I've always been very masculine. Like, I'm not manly. I just think manly is what some people describe it as. Like, some of my girlfriends do. So, like, when I was in school, I never wore skirts and dresses, but I think that was, like, a combination of multiple things. Like, I never liked my legs. My legs used to be covered in eczema when I was growing up. I hate shaving, so that's also a contributor. There's actually a really funny story that recently, I think I mentioned it last week, when I went on that Britney brunch, I remember there was loads of people looking at me in the train, like, what the fuck? And I was sober, so I was like, why are people just staring at me? Like, yes, I look like Britney Spears, but I look like a casual Britney Spears, so no one actually would guess that I look like Britney, you know? I was just like overdressed up for a Sunday morning. And then I got really comfy on the train and I like put my leg up and I was like, oh my God, because I was wearing knee-high boots, but I took them off because they were really hurting my feet. So I just put my sock trainers on, and I didn't realise that when you wear clear tan tights that you can actually see through them. Yeah. So my very fucking hairy legs were just out on show for everybody. How embarrassing. So if you saw that, well, yeah, I'm all for people embracing it, but me personally, I'd rather not embrace it. So I was just like, oh, like I've got no problem sharing the fact I hate shaving, but once you go through like loads of appointments of like laser, bearing in mind I stopped the treatment because it got too expensive, but it fucking does work, if you complete the treatment, that is. But yeah, I just got really lazy and stopped doing it. So I wasn't getting on my legs though. But anyway, that's not what I'm fucking talking about. But yeah, funny story. Thought I'd share that one. Embarrassing myself in public. How fun. Anyway, so today I thought, so in the past week, I've been working, like I said I was last week, so I've been doing this driving job. I'm actually starting to enjoy it a little bit more. I mean, it is, pretty simple, easy job to do. I wouldn't call it, life-changing or something that I would want to progress in a career of, just because it's a very simple, easy job. But today, I drove a pickup truck for the first time, so I've been driving I've been driving pickup trucks anyway. They're quite easy. They're like driving a car. But I drove like a flatbed, which is like, basically, the front of it is like a van, but the back of it is like a huge trailer. I can't really describe it, but if you've drove one, you'll know what I'm talking about. Mainly like builders and stuff use them, if that makes sense. But they're massive. They're like almost the size of a van. They're just shorter. And that was actually not bad driving. So yeah, this week I'll probably be driving a van, but I've been avoiding it for the past week or so because I thought I was going to hate it. So I've just been driving the 4x4s, and they're really fun to drive. I actually really enjoy driving them. And since being in this job, I take everything I said back about automatic cars, because you know what? For traffic reasons, I actually think I'd like an automatic car, just so when I'm sat in traffic, or when I'm doing the long drives with Alex on the weekends, I would probably just, I don't know, not be as tired from driving. Like, your legs ache when you're stuck in traffic. And with all these new shit smart motorways, I don't know who thought they were smart. They're not. If you wanted to enforce the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit and make the lanes narrower, maybe you should have done that when you added the 4th lane. I'm just saying. Like, all these roadworks and all these 50-mile-an-hour speed limits, like, the cars will see on the sign above 50 miles an hour, they slam their brakes on, so if you thought there wasn't going to be congestion because your smart motorway tried to stop it, there is now. Just saying. Anyway, yeah, so maybe, yeah, I take everything I said about automatic cars. I mean, I do prefer manual when in regards to, like, having control over a car. I do think they're better for having more control over it, but I do so much driving on the weekends with Alex to and from all his shows, and to be honest, an automatic car for like 12 hours of driving in a weekend probably would make it easier. So on Friday, bit of racket, just having a sip of water. Extra sound effects for you. Yeah, so on Friday, Alex had 2 shows, one in Leeds and one in Cambridge. Right. So I thought we would get there like extra early, and then I was really fucking tired. So it must have been like a 3-hour drive to Leeds, and then we spent like an hour or so getting to know the place. Went for a well nice meal. He did his show, and then we literally had to leave straight away. So at like 11:30, 12 at night, we got straight on the road and went towards Cambridge, and I was absolutely fucking shattered. I've never struggled so much in my life to drive. So like I mean, I've done this before. Like, he has had 2 shows in one night before, and I've done like a long drive in between them, and it's usually fine. But this one occasion, I just really fucking struggled. So like, I was just struggling to keep my eyes open. Like, I just felt them trying to close. And I remember Alex saying, Are you about to fall asleep? And I'm like, no, but my eyes feel like they're trying to fall asleep. Like, I think I stopped like 2 or 3 times, did some fucking star jumps to wake myself up. And because like, I was opening the window thinking cold air would help, Alex gave me a sip of Red Bull, and I was like, oh my god, I can't be drinking an energy drink because I'll just have a sugar crash. And I sleep with the window open a lot of the time, so like, the breeze just making me more tired. So that's why I had to just keep stopping, doing a couple star jumps, get the blood pumping around the body, and then carry on going. So we literally got there. I think we got there with like 10 minutes to spare, and I was really surprised, to be fair. But driving around at 3 o'clock in the morning, I guess there's not as much traffic, so lucky for us. But we got there. The show went really well. That was really fun. God, I was so tired afterwards though. But yeah, it was a nice hotel. Something I really find weird is that we stay in hotels like every single weekend after his shows, and every single morning, even when I don't drink, I feel hungover. And I don't drink more than I do drink nowadays. So I felt very hungover. My head was pounding, and it's like so bizarre. And I was actually talking to my neighbour and her boyfriend about it, and they were saying it's because like you're not at home, so you constantly feel like your brain can't rest when it's not in a familiar place. So like, even if these hotels look the same and you get used to a hotel, like their brand and stuff like that, you're still always going to have a headache afterwards. I just don't understand. It's very, very frustrating. Anyways, yeah. So Saturday night, he had another show in Bristol. You know what? I think I actually slagged off Bristol one time in the podcast. It was nice at this time. It was a nice, a very good gig. He did, every show he did this weekend was at an O2 Academy. So big ups to him. Well done, babe. It's very exciting. He released a new remix of one of his tunes this week, and it has done so well, so I'm so fucking proud of him. And it's actually really incredible to see, like, not only him, but like other artists that he's associated with. They're all doing really well at the minute, which is so fucking exciting to see. I can't really describe it. Like, all of them just become fucking really famous. So look at that. Look at you bougie bitches getting your blue ticks, thinking, unstoppable now. But anyway, yeah, well done to all of them. Very proud. Very proud of my boyfriend. He's worked so fucking hard. So he fucking deserves it. Anyways, cannot think about what I was saying. Quote of the day. I actually didn't prepare a quote of the day today, but so I thought I would just make one up. You know what? It's probably going to piss him off. Me and Alex bickered a little this weekend. And then on Sunday, right, I realised that when I'm angry, I can't fucking eat anything. Like, I'm not hungry. How weird is that? Like, when you're sad, when you're happy, when you're just like mutual, I can fucking eat tons. When I'm angry, I can't eat anything. So I don't know whether there's a quote in there, but it's something, isn't it? It's fucking something. So, introducing today's topic, I was actually going to do a completely different topic today. However, I'm going to save that for next week just because I want to be doing a bit more research about that. I'm going to be talking about alcohol abuse, how people quit alcohol, how people become addicted to it, how people react to it, and my personal journey with drinking. I mean, I've touched on it a few times before, but I've never really gone into it as a sole topic. Sole topic? I don't know. I make up these words to sound smarter. Anyway, so I actually took today's topic from inspiration from somebody else. So I started reading this book when I was recovering from anxiety and all these panic attacks and stuff like that, just over a year ago. Now, I've been reading this book called Good Vibes, Good Life, and it's by Vex King, and you should definitely go follow him on Instagram. His stuff is insane. I just wanted to start reading because I was really struggling with figuring out how to fall asleep at night, and I just resulted into the last thing I could think of. I struggled because I used to smoke myself to sleep every night, and then when I stopped, I wouldn't sleep for days, and I struggled to sleep before I smoked. I always struggled as a kid, and because we have so much technology in our lives, it just keeps our brains on high alert, and I just felt like I needed to try and find a way to learn how to sleep, so I had to change my whole environment. I rearranged my room. I completely changed my living room around. Like, things like changing your environment is meant to help you overcome these fears that you have. And my fear was having a panic attack in the situation I was in before, where my bedroom was laid out a certain way and my living room was laid out a certain way. So I know that sounds really strange, but changing your environment does have a huge impact on you. And I would have to have like a ritual at night. So I would have to only have a lamp on in my bedroom, have all the lights off, drink water, do my skincare routine, which is not really that detailed compared to other people's. Just make sure nothing's on your fucking face and splash cold water on it to close the pores, because otherwise I get really spotty. Which I've also heard, if you have a freezer, because I don't have a freezer, but putting ice cubes on your face closes your pores and tightens your skin. Jennifer Aniston taught me that. Yeah. And look how young she looks, and she's over 50. So if you want to try something new, try that. Anyway, back to what I was saying. And his stuff is insane. So this book he wrote talks about his journey with self-love, self-healing. He talks about some of his traumas. He talks about this new positive mindset. He talks about manifesting, affirmations, so much. It is so good that I'm going to read it again, but I'm on his second book, which is called Healing is the New High. So this one is solely about like trauma and healing from things and unlearning old bad habits and your old norms, which has inspired a lot of things I have learnt for things like setting boundaries and stuff like that. And it really, really does help. Like, obviously, I was introduced to all this stuff from the books, but I've also done my own research and stuff and looked at other people's point of views and stuff like that. But when I started like researching this person and how like he started writing these books and stuff, I followed him on Instagram, and he actually has a weekly newsletter that he sends out every Sunday. And I just thought that I would give some pointers from it and give my own interpretation. So this episode is actually inspired by one of his weekly updates, and I feel like it's something that isn't actually being talked about much. Like, I know I mention it, but we're going to talk about it. So this time of year, you know, everyone starts becoming more social. Everyone. Sometimes I say things so weirdly. Everyone starts becoming more and more social. The sun's coming out. It's almost like some of us get more anxious because of social anxiety, and we're spending more time with people. We're not all hibernating anymore. People don't want to be inside too much anymore because they want to enjoy the sunshine and all the events going on around us. Like, it's festival season, it's summer season, it's spring. We all start coming out of our shells and being more ourselves again. Some people thrive in the winter, don't get me wrong. I just know by a ton of polls that I did. If you're on my Instagram, you will see every so often, I don't do it very often, but I will just blow up my Instagram with tons and tons of polls and questions, because sometimes I just want to get to know my viewers better, get to know the people that actually enjoy my content and support it, which what a better way to do it, to ask people what their favourite whatever is, like their favourite seasons, whether they feel like they can reach out to people and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyway, at this time of year, a lot of us find that our social lives get very busy, and this year it's going to be so much busier than what we've been used to for the past couple of years. Yes, I know some of us broke the lockdown rules, but still, it's very different when it's normal again, okay? The restrictions are almost gone, the travel restrictions are almost eliminated, and that's very exciting. It can also be a new source of stress when we start hanging out with people and we feel like, you don't set enough of the boundaries around these people because you've known them for a long time and stuff like that. And I have touched on that before as well. If you're someone who's really easily triggered by like getting fit, like when you feel hurt or angry, when people say or do insensitive things, then I just want to try and help you think about that, put it into perspective. You got to remind yourself that people are always going to say and do insensitive things that offend you, that say things that sometimes people do it on purpose. But I honestly, truly believe nowadays, it took me a long time to come to terms with this, but most of the time people never say things that are intended to offend you. Sometimes people say things that sound really judgmental when it's just an observation and it's just a perspective of how they feel about something or how they see something. Like, it's never ever black and white truth. Some people choose to deal with things on their own. Some people will deal with people, and I think this makes them more introverted because then they'll go home, deal with it, and they're just like, oh my god, this person made me feel like this, and did I act a certain way in front of these people? Am I going to be spoke about? Am I going to be judged? Am I going to be talked about? When really, it's very, very unlikely that people are analysing your behaviour unless they're immature and are very judgmental people. But I've learned throughout life it's not really the case. People don't really care the way you act or the way you are. And if they make a comment, it depends on the type of people around them, whether they will feed into that comment, if you know what I mean. Whereas a lot of the time it depends who I'm around. If people offend me or say something that I might think, oh, that was a bit touchy, nowadays I tend to address it 9 times out of 10. It's very rare that I keep something to myself. But sometimes some things do I keep to myself. I tend to always have my 2 pence in every conversation, just because I feel like almost obliged, as kind of like I'm trying to find my purpose, right? And I feel like I just can help people. I just feel like I can give people my advice. And obviously, sometimes people really don't fucking want it. My partner and I actually spoke about this not long ago. Like, he said to me before, like, I love the fact that you just say things as they are. But then sometimes it's like, why don't you just keep your thoughts to yourself? Sometimes you don't need to say everything. And it's like, well, there's pros and cons to it. I do just say things the way they are. I don't sugarcoat things, and I can't help it because I'm just one of these people who doesn't think before they speak. What I think comes out my mouth, and then I go, oh, did I just say that? Oh well. I can't really explain exactly what I mean. I mean, I think a lot of people do it, but more times than often do they think about it first. They think, they really wind themselves up. But then the people that wind themselves up and bottle things up and go, oh, I've got really upset about something, but I should have just spoke about it. I totally understand it, because if you just bottling something up, not speaking about it, it's going to seem very dramatic in your mind. It's going to give you anxiety, and you're going to think, oh my God, why didn't I just say? Like, when, say, for example, someone does something, they make a decision on your behalf, and they probably didn't intend to offend you or anything, but you just think, oh, why did they do that? Why didn't they ask me first? Blah, blah, blah. Whereas the other person might just, trying to help you out, trying to do you a favour. And if you don't say anything, then you're going to go and do what you don't want to do. So if you just say like, oh, actually, I would rather, or can I just do this, or can you not make decisions on my behalf? Can you ask me next time? Or, is there another way we can do this? A lot of the time, people are very easygoing, like, more than you think they are. So it's definitely worth asserting your dominance. Even if you don't feel dominant, even if you feel like the most submissive person in the world, all you need to do is find your voice and just suggest something, or just say, if you're not one of these people that feel like you can be like, can I do this, can I do that, maybe just add it in conversation and go, like, I'm not really wording this right. Let me try again. When I used to not be very dominant, I used to ask questions. So I used to start a conversation and I would be like, do you like this? Or do you prefer this? Or would you rather this? And people usually tell you what they think. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then it's like a window for a debate where people, it's like an invitation to have a conversation. So like people give their opinion and I can just be like, oh, really? That's interesting because I actually prefer this, or I actually like it like this. I prefer doing things this way. I really wish I had an example, but sometimes when I'm explaining things, I just don't have one. But yeah, I hope that sort of gave you a suggestion on how to approach things in a different way, instead of letting that bottle up and make you feel a certain way, because you shouldn't feel like you're out in control of your life, and if you don't want to be a dominant person, and if you don't feel confident enough to be less submissive, or if you feel like you can't get a word in edgeways because somebody is just this, what's the word, and like an authority figure, you can actually say like your opinion. Like, it's not illegal, no one's going to stop you from saying what you think and how you feel. And even if you don't get the reaction you want, don't beat yourself up about it. Disagreements are perfectly normal. It happens every single day, and you're allowed to disagree with someone. Like, it's okay. And also, I find when you disagree with someone, it does plant a seed. It plants a seed that you prefer something one way, and no, it doesn't make you a difficult person. You're not difficult whatsoever, okay? Don't feel like you're being difficult, that you're a burden, because you're not. You are not a burden for wanting what you want in life. I imagine most of my listeners are adults. You are an adult. You're allowed to have what you want in life. You're allowed to set the boundaries you want in life. You're allowed to ask for things you want in life. Don't feel like you have to just deal with what you have, because life can change. And if you get to, I don't know, double your age now, you look back and you think, why didn't I just stop doing that? Why didn't I just tell this person that I'm not happy with that? Like, if you don't do it now, there isn't going to be a right time to do it. You just have to do it. So please, try that out. And I just also want to say, people do wish that they could communicate their feelings much clearer, instead of feeling like you have to keep it all bottled up and hidden away. You are not alone. Like, there are so many people that feel this way. You're not weird for feeling like this. You can get hurt by so many things. Like, I get offended by things that not many people get offended by, and I let things slide that should not be let slide. Is that the right terminology? Fuck knows. But we're all different. We've all learnt things in different ways. We've all, learnt what we think is gospel and stuff like that, and it can be unlearned. You might think you're a really sensitive person. I'm pretty sure I'm a sensitive person, but realistically, is there such thing as an overly sensitive person? Is there such thing as an overreaction? Realistically, just think about it. If you are arguing with someone, right, and then you're in public, you're around all your friends, and you snap at something they say, and your friends look at you like, that was a little unreasonable. But it's been something that has been repetitive, and you've confronted this person about it, and then they continue doing it. It's not an overreaction. It's you're now mad because they've not respected your boundaries, you know? Stuff like that. So don't feel like, you're overly sensitive about things. I get really upset about so many little things, and it's not like I get like major FOMO. I hate it when people hang around with people I don't like. And yes, I know they're not things that can be controlled, but at the same time, I'm allowed to feel how I feel for a reason, So don't feel like you have to explain why you're upset about something. Sometimes you can just say, well, I don't like this, and I don't like that. Sometimes people will understand and they'll change their behaviour, but you can't change Sometimes people understand and they might change their behaviour, but you can't expect them to. You can't expect people to change themselves as a person. It's mainly their behaviour, And if you want to keep somebody in your life, then meeting each other's behaviour boundaries are completely fine. But then trying to get someone to change as a person is not fine. So it's something that communicating always plays a huge role in. Communication is so important. Now, some people do just walk away from a social situation and just feel like shit. Like they think, did I say something? Did I do something? Have I triggered someone? Why am I triggered? And you just feel so shit about it. Like sometimes I'll think, oh my god, why did I say that out loud? Or sometimes I think, why have I sat there in silence for so long? And sometimes I think, oh, there were so many things I wanted to talk about, but I forgot, And it's not a thing you should beat yourself up about. Sometimes people change, sometimes you change, and sometimes you're just not having a good day. Sometimes you just don't get the right vibe. You've got other things on your mind. Like, you're only human, and you can't really, beat yourself up about it. It's not your fault. Sometimes people will joke about things, but it personally offends you, and it's like, yeah, it can make you feel proper shit. But at the same time, if you don't stand your ground and say, but I don't find that funny, then the joke's going to be made again. And if you laugh, because it's like a nervous laugh, it's a natural reaction, I think. A lot of people, when they're nervous, they do laugh, especially when they have been offended or something like that. Like, sometimes I laugh at things that personally offend me, but then I reflect on it and I think, actually, that wasn't fucking funny. That actually really pissed me off. And now I try and address these things. So I'm just like, look, don't try and laugh at my expense. Or, that's not funny though, is it? Or I make like a dig. It's petty, it's bitchy. I mean, it's not bitchy, but it sounds bitchy when I say it. The thing is, if you don't say these things or do these things, sometimes they'll just keep happening. If you feel like you're not being treated right, if you feel like someone's going against your boundaries, I know I've already said this, but you do have to set that in place. You have to just be like, actually, no, I don't want to feel like this, You just have to think to yourself, I'm not responsible for somebody else getting upset. I'm not responsible for somebody else getting angry. I'm not responsible for how other people react to what I have to say. And don't feel like what you say is dramatic either. It's so important, and I actually quote word for word in this Sunday post. This is where I got most of the inspiration from. You are responsible for your own reactions. So, if you aren't reacting the way you want to, you must work on it. You must. You've got to try and write down the things that have bothered you. So, if someone said a comment about what you're wearing, or what you are doing, or your behaviour, or anything like that, or a joke you told, or your humour, or the way you said something, write it down and think, how am I going to say something to this? How am I going to react on something to this? Because if you just keep reacting the way you're reacting and you're feeling like shit afterwards, it's not the reaction that's working for you. It's not the reaction that's making you feel empowered, making you smile when you leave the situation, and you've got to try and like turn the tables around. Hence why some people become nasty and bitchy and petty, but sometimes it can work in your favour. I'm not trying to tell you to be a bitch. I'm not trying to tell you to be a prick. I'm just saying that sometimes addressing things from a different point of view is worth trying. Sometimes people, make like people always like laugh at my laugh, right? Because when I actually have a proper laugh, I literally sound like Jimmy Carr, right? But my laugh changes all the time. I don't know why. Fuck knows. Maybe it's a particular topic I find hilarious. I don't know. But I have different laughs all the time. But sometimes people make a comment about it, and I'm just like, yeah, that's really funny. But before, I would never react to it. Like, when people say, oh, you sound like Jimmy Carr, I do my best Jimmy Carr impression now. Because if it was like back in school, like in the last 2 episodes, I was talking about like friends I was friends with in school, and where girls can really pick on little things about you. Now when people like mock my laugh or like joke about my laugh, I just do my best impression, because I'm just like, well, I'm owning this. Like, I'm owning this joke, okay? Because obviously, if we're laughing, I'm going to be the funny one here. Alright? Yeah. Empowerment, bitch. How about that? Anyway, a bit more serious. You can choose when you want to respond. You don't have to respond straight away. You can think about it. It's okay to feel like a strong emotional reaction to something. I sometimes struggle to process things. I struggle to think about things before I say them. Hence why I'm giving this advice. Because if you can, just pause a minute, think about it, think about what they said, and if it's not like in person, it's over message, read it out loud, read it out loud in different tone, different ways, because text can always be like misinterpreted. But if obviously we're talking about like being in social situations, you can not respond or you can respond, and it's okay to think, this is actually really upsetting me, but it's not worth risking even more upset by responders, so I'm just going to brush it off and walk away. But it's also not your responsibility to call everyone out on their bad behaviour. My recommendation is you should, but you have a choice, obviously. Sometimes when you feel like something has been taken out of context, or you're offended and you want to say something, you can also like just think to yourself, right, breathe in, breathe out. You have like a moment where you just think about what they said. Sometimes breathing in and breathing out just calms you down so you can say what you were thinking. I always do this in workplace environments. I used to argue with people I worked with a lot, and I used to just think, okay then. I used to just say out loud, alright, fine. Because I used to always argue back. I would always get in a row with someone. People used to say to me, you're going to end up getting sacked if you carry on. And because I used to be so dedicated to my job, and I used to be so obsessed with being a perfectionist and doing the best I could, because I wanted to have a better career, I wanted to get to the best position I could, I wanted to earn more money. But realistically, some people don't care how you treat them. And if there are a lot of narcissistic people out there, and if you are entertaining their horrible comments by arguing back, sometimes it's not worth your energy. Like, sometimes you just have to think, okay, not entertain what they have to say. I find with a narcissist, if you don't react to what they said, especially when they say something really mean, if you don't say anything, oh my God, it bothers them so much. And I just love, it's very psychotic point of view actually, but I love just saying, okay, even when it's something really nasty and really mean, and it's something you've reacted to before, it's something you know that they know bothers you. Wait, does that make sense? It's something that they know is going to bother you and they've said it anyway. If you just go, okay, and just don't entertain it, they'll try and do it again. They'll try and wind you up again. Okay, just stop responding. Oh my God, it bothers them so much. So I want you to try that. And because we are not letting narcissists run our lives anymore, everybody. Your best friend can be a narcissist and you don't know about it. So try it. Trust me. It really fucks with people. Okay, less psychotic Jay. Let's stop it. Anyway, the healthier way to deal with things is to not blame other people for how you feel and try and communicate them. I'm all for blaming people, to be fair. I think it's everybody else and it's not me. But that's a little narcissistic. So, honestly, it's not other people. It's how I respond to things. If I don't set boundaries and if I don't tell people how I want to be treated, and if I react by getting angry or calling someone names, it's not going to benefit me. If I just let it cool down, ignore it, or just say, yeah, that's not funny, I'm waiting for the situation to chill out a little, just say, look, pull someone aside privately and just be like, look, what you said actually wasn't, like, I got offended because it made me feel like this, or just share how you feel, like, explore your emotions with another person. And a lot of the time, like, actual friends of yours or in any sort of social situation, people can be very reasonable. You'll be very surprised. You can tell people, I feel a little hurt, I feel angry, I'm really upset. And because you've come from a calm place and from kindness, instead of being like, you said this and it hurt me, you can be like, what did you mean by this? Because I was thinking that you meant this and, you know, I got a little offended, but obviously it's just because I've been offended because somebody said it before. Obviously that's probably like not the best way to do it, but that's how I would do it. And I feel like that's a lot healthier than being like, it's your fault, you did this, you did that. It's like, actually, I feel this way because I've let you keep doing it and I've made you think it's okay when really it's actually really upsetting me, because I don't feel respected. I feel like my boundaries are being crossed and stuff like that. So if you communicate how you feel but leaving space for a conversation instead of causing conflict, you don't have to do this in a way where someone gets offended themselves or overly sensitive. Some people do. Some people are very high rate and they'll just argue anyway, and you're not going to give time for those people. If people do just create conflict from you trying to share your calm, open, honest feelings, then they are the problem, and you've confirmed that now, so you don't have to entertain it anymore. You can just be like, okay, and you can deal with it in a more, you know, blunt situation or blunt way. You always have the right to walk away. I mean, I don't know about you. I have abandonment issues. So when people walk away, I panic. But most people feel like, you know, okay, I'm going to walk away and cool off for a second. So this is something that I have to work on because I have serious abandonment issues. However, as an example, sorry again to my partner, but I just feel like it's a really good example. When me and him ever have an argument or something, he will get like, he'll just think, oh, I'm just going to walk away and let it cool down. But I don't like it. Whereas what he's doing is probably a healthy thing for most people. But I'm like, please don't do that. Like, what the fuck? Like, can we just deal with it and deal with it right now? But then if I'm mad at him, I'm like, I need space away from you for a minute to process it. You know? Not always the case. I'm just giving an example. And I know a lot of other people can relate to that. Probably not relate to the abandonment issues as much. But I've got issues. What can I fucking say? We've all got something wrong with us. So don't feel like you have tons of things wrong with you. And like nobody else does. Because they fucking do. Alright? Everyone's been raised in a different way. And people are the way they are. And yes, they are self-conscious of it. They just don't admit it. The reason why you feel like you've got so many things wrong with you is because you are ready to heal. You are ready to address things. You are ready to be you are self-aware. And you let it bother you, but Like, I let all these things bother me sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, I've got all these obsessive problems wrong with me. I've got anxiety. I get crazy, like, obsessed with things. But really, I'm self-aware. I'm learning about what bothers me and what's actually something I'm traumatized by and what's something that I thought was normal, but it's not. And because I'm working on them, sometimes you just have to be like, oh, okay, but nobody else is working on it. So if someone thinks, oh, you've got all these things wrong with you, or they treat you differently, just feel sorry for them mentally, all right? Because one day it's all going to come crashing down, and if they're not willing to work on themselves, they're going to lose themselves. Okay, I've worded that really wrong, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, okay? The main point I was trying to make was, other people are not self-aware of their behaviour, of their pros and cons. They just try not to worry about it because they're so busy with their lives, and that's completely fine. Some people are not ready, but they should not be putting blame. Like, why am I so bad at fucking communicating things and explaining things? What I'm trying to say is, like, you know when you want to communicate something with someone and they just get high rate, but you're calm, you're collected, you're not putting blame on them, you're just saying, I feel this way when you talk about this. Or I feel this way when you talk to me in a certain way. If they get high rate and they get offended and they create this conflict, then it sounds like they've got their own issues, doesn't it? To me, it does. When you think of it outside the box, when you're not in the situation, and you actually think, oh my God, now I'm not in the situation, I see it a lot clearer. But when you're in the situation, you're like, oh no, but they're like this, and you make excuses for people just because of their behaviour. Like, you don't have to think, oh, what if this person changes? People don't change, but their behaviour does. And if you don't put boundaries in place, people will continue to disrespect you because you've basically told them it's okay. You'll be like, oh, it's fine then. It's alright. You carry on doing that because I'll just put up with it. Not anymore, alright? Not anymore, we're not doing that. No, I'm fucking sick of it. Stop it. Stop it right now. I'm not sure if I covered a lot of things about how to deal with people now that lockdown is and restrictions are basically over. I haven't really got a name for this title, I read my inspiration. I got the topic idea from reading the email I received on Sunday about how to get back into life with, get back into social situations and not feel like you're responsible for other people's feelings and more responsible for how you feel. So I'll be very interested to know what I name this topic. But I'm really interested to what you think about this. I just realised I've been clicking a pen throughout the fucking podcast, and now I'm going to have to try and edit it out. Actually, now that I've announced that gives me full right to not edit it out, as long as it's not too loud. Okay, that one will probably be loud. I put that right next to the mic. Yeah. We are in a very strange period of time in life where restrictions are gone, lockdown's over, bills are fucking expensive, so now we've got to try and do cheaper activities. I'm trying to do free stuff. What's cheaper than free? Fuck knows. But it's a very interesting time because if you wasn't anxious and you wasn't socially awkward before, you're definitely gonna experience some of it now, Not everyone, but I think a lot of people will. I have never had social anxiety, but ever since experiencing anxiety, I'm more conscious of my behaviour because I analyse everything more than I ever did, and I did it a fucking lot. So it's definitely something that plays on your mind. Even when I went through this Britney brunch just over 2 weeks ago or something like that, however long ago it was, not the fucking point here, but I felt so anxious before I left, and I'm like, why? probably because I was going out with a group of girls and I haven't done that for a really long time. But it's like, you know, it's normal to feel anxious when you're not doing something in your comfort zone. And I feel completely comfortable with all these girls, but it's still like not something I do often. It's like when you get a new partner and you just end up getting really comfortable around them. So like you become like, I don't know, more slobbery. Like I mean, poor fucking Alex. I never looked that nice when I first met him, to be honest, because it was lockdown, so you know, pretty much pajamas and stuff all the time. But when we used to go out, obviously I'd dress up and go to the pub. And then the longer he stayed with me, the more he realised that I avoid showering, I don't like shaving, and sometimes I forget to brush my teeth at night. You know, disgusting things like that. That's not really... I've just basically exposed myself when I completely forgot what I was trying to say. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm a disgusting human being. You're welcome. And on that note, I'm definitely going to skip this week's voicemail section. Do you know why? Because I forgot to fucking ask my listeners on Instagram. Yeah, so that was fucking silly, wasn't it? I mean, I did put something on my Instagram, right? I put on my Instagram, like 2-3 days ago, maybe just before the weekend. I think it was Friday. And every time I use a face mask, I'm trying to like rehydrate my skin and stuff like that. But sometimes they just make my skin shitter. Like, you know, the ones that come as like a ready-made face mask that fits your face, but they never fit my face, and they just don't feel nice, okay? And I put on my Instagram, like, what are the best face masks? Like, no one ever tells you about this. I swear to God. When I was, like, a child, I used to make my own face masks. I used to blend fruit together, and I used to put just fresh fruit on my face. But I was, like, 5. Okay, maybe not 5. Maybe more like 10. And I don't remember the way it worked. I don't remember if it was good for me or not, but I'm pretty sure putting acidic stuff on your face is not good. So, you know, there's got to be some way it's good. And, like, all these beauty companies... I'm just more of a natural beauty gal. I don't feel like putting cosmetic stuff into your skin is good. So using face masks they use, I just... Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. I just don't feel like they'd be that good for you. And I'm very prone to acne under the skin. Not on top, under. When they come out the skin, I try to pop it and it just doesn't do what I want it to do because it just leaves a fucking crater in my face. It's very frustrating. And I get like really oily skin and all my pores stay open unless I put cold water on my face. But yeah. Anyway, I asked my Instagram listeners, what's the best face mask? But then, because I did it as like a video, there was a song Alex was playing while he was in the shower, and it turns out it was an unreleased tune, so I had to delete the story because I forget that I'm not supposed to put unreleased stuff on the internet because I don't know. It's obviously private. It might not be happy with it. It might be a collaboration with someone. But yeah, if you heard it, fucking VIP treatment, because I'm not allowed to do it and I have to think about it now. So, be warned. I might delete Instagram stories if they are meant to be a secret. But I forget because when he makes a new tune, I hear it. And then once it's like catchy and I know it, I'm like, yeah, and I start singing it to myself. I'm like, yeah, you make some bangers. I forget that they're not released sometimes. Yeah, so sorry, babe. Sorry about that. No, he don't care. He just asked me to take it down because it was unreleased. But yeah. Anyway, and because it wasn't finished. So I don't know if anyone else is with somebody that's like an artistic person or a creative person, but when they try and show you it, they always try and justify it. They're like, so I'm going to show you this, but it's not done and it's not finished. And I'm like, just show me it. Like, whatever you've done, I'm going to be impressed by because I can't do it. You know? You get what I mean? And when they do finish it, like, it doesn't sound dramatically different to what they showed you. Like, obviously it sounds better, but like, they don't, like, they have different ears. Like, well, my partner has different ears to me. Like, he hears for certain things. I just want to hear the song, you know? Anyway, don't think that was fucking relevant to what I was talking about, but yeah. Because, but that's my explanation and extra and a little story as to why I don't have the voicemail section today of the questions, confessions, and advice you need, because I didn't fucking ask anyone because I forgot, so I'm really sorry. But please send them, because it is one of my favourite parts of the show, and without this part of the show, I wouldn't be able to, I mean, oh my god. Please send them in to me, because without you sending them, I won't have this part of the show, and I love doing it because I get some really exciting ones, and I love giving my advice because I haven't quite figured it out yet, because sometimes I still have my fucking identity crisis. You know what I'm trying to say. I have my identity crisis sometimes, and I think, what's my purpose in life? But something I feel really good about is when I give people advice, you know? I feel like if I can't learn from my mistakes, fucking someone can. So to send me your confessions, questions, and anything you need advice on, find @podcast.j on Instagram. You can send me a voice note to play on the pod, or just type me a message and I'll keep you anonymous, unless you put your name on, of course. It won't be long until we start getting guests on the show. Maybe send me a message, suggest me some guests, ask if you want to come on the show, to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm very transparent, I'm very open and honest, I'm very controversial, and I'm a massive fucking hypocrite. So, it doesn't mean that I'm a hypocrite, like, I'm not trying to beat myself up about it. I'm just saying it's like, I'm very controversial. I can see things from multiple different perspectives. Here we go again. Anyways, that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, being involved, and giving me a listen. Please, can you share this episode, or the episode you think is the best produced, the best quality, the most interesting, anything like that? Please give it a share for me. Had a drop in viewers this week because I wasn't very good with my social media, and sometimes I just take a little break from it. So if you could help get the word out and share it for me, I will love you forever. Make sure you tag me when you do, so I can send you my thank yous, send you a love heart, and I'll reshare it if you put it on things like your story. Check out Podcast J on any other social media platform. I've got Facebook. I do have TikTok. I'm still experimenting. So far, not fucking famous. So, I mean, I don't want to be famous. I just want to earn the money, to be honest. So, if anyone's got any fucking hacks for me, that would be great. But if you have anything exciting planned for this week, or have any exciting stories to tell, please send them in. Just want to start getting this a little bit spicy, you know? I'm kidding. It's already fucking spicy. Love yourself. I love you. I love me. Have a great day. Have a great week. And see you later.